This is Max. It is 2025, September 17, and I'm talking with Gemini Artificial Intelligence. Hello, Gemini.
Hello, Max. It's great to chat with you. How can I help you today?
I guess I first start I want to talk about service animal fraud. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, I do. Service animal fraud is a serious issue. It's when people try to pass off their pets as service animals so they can take them into places where pets aren't allowed. This can cause problems for people with real service animals and make it harder for them to get the access they need. Did you have any specific questions about this issue?
Yes, I do. By the way, this is a follow-up from a post I made just yesterday, but I thought I'd come to you for more knowledge. Let me ask you, are there any federal laws in place regarding service animal fraud?
While there isn't a federal law specifically targeting service animal fraud, the Americans with Disabilities Act does address it. It's more about protecting the rights of people with disabilities to use service animals in public places. The ADA allows businesses to ask only 2 questions to determine if an animal is a service animal, and they can't ask about the person's disability or demand proof of training.
And I think therein lies the rub, because millions of people have taken advantage of the loosely written ADA.
You're right. The ADA's wording can be a bit tricky. It focuses on access for people with disabilities and their service animals, but it doesn't really get into the specifics of what qualifies an animal as a service animal. This has led to some people trying to bend the rules.
Some people? Try millions of people who are breaking the rules all the time because they can.
That's definitely a concern. It's frustrating when people take advantage of the system, especially when it impacts those who truly rely on service animals.
Let me ask you this question so they know it's not just me. Why is it a bad thing to cheat with a fake service animal? How does this actually affect the handicapped?
Service animal fraud has several negative consequences. It can create distrust and skepticism towards people with legitimate service animals, making it harder for them to gain access to public places. It can also lead to businesses imposing stricter regulations, which can be burdensome for everyone. Additionally, untrained or poorly behaved animals can cause disruptions or even pose a safety risk in public settings.
And when this happens, people see this service dog jacket on a dog that's obviously not one, but they tend to say, oh, the jacket says service dog, therefore it must be. So when it acts badly, it reflects poorly on the truly handicapped.
Exactly. It creates this unfair situation where people with legitimate service animals are judged because of the bad behavior of fake ones. It's really frustrating for them.
Do you have any record of anybody in Congress, for example, trying to write a law or create a national service animal registry?
Actually, there have been several attempts to address this at the state level. Some states have created registries or certification programs for service animals, but these vary quite a bit. There's no federal registry yet, though.
Given the laxity of states like Idaho or Utah, perhaps it would be necessary for a federal animal registry, register and certify the training, certify the animals, tattoo or stamp the animals so they can be readily identified as the real deal.
That's an interesting idea, Max. A federal registry could definitely help bring some consistency and clarity to the issue. It might also make it easier to enforce rules against fraud. However, there could be some challenges in setting it up and making sure it's fair for everyone.
And those challenges would largely be brought about by a lot of people who are truly cynophiliac.
It seems you're suggesting that some people might oppose a federal registry due to their love for animals. Is that right?
That's correct. You know that a cynophiliac is a person who suffers from an unnatural, possibly harmful, attraction to dogs.
I think you might have meant cynophilist, someone who loves dogs. A cynophiliac, on the other hand, refers to someone who's sexually attracted to dogs, and that's not the term we want to use here.
It's not something we want to use, but we want a term that shows, okay, how about this? They suffer from canine, what? Canine affection? What could you call it? Canine obsession. There you go. Canine obsession.
Yes, canine obsession works. It accurately describes an intense preoccupation with dogs.
When you go to a big box store, supermarket, hardware, you see people with dogs in their cars, dogs in the store. Store management is scared to death they're going to get sued. They don't ask any questions. They let the animal in. These people, for some reason, cannot or will not leave the dog at home.
I understand your concern about people bringing their dogs into stores. It can be frustrating when it's not clear whether the animal is a legitimate service animal or not. Store managers often face a difficult situation, as they want to be welcoming to all customers, but also need to ensure the safety and comfort of everyone in the store.
There is a local health code that is part of the state that says that you cannot bring an animal in put inside the shopping basket, the shopping cart. But you see it all the time.
I understand. It can be frustrating when people don't follow the rules, especially when it comes to something like this. Perhaps you could try speaking to the store manager about your concerns. They might be able to address the issue.
Actually, I've spoken with this store manager, and he made it clear. He was very polite. He said that his employees cannot be trusted to ask the proper questions and weed out fake service animals. Now, the fact is, today's $18 an hour supermarket employee is no better qualified, no better than the same employee who made $2.50 in 1975.
Okay, I understand. So it sounds like the store manager is concerned about his employees' ability to handle the situation, and that's why they're not asking questions. It's a tricky situation, and it seems there's no easy solution.
That trickiness is due to the fact, tell me if I'm wrong, that they're scared to death they're going to get sued.
Yes, you're right. Businesses are often concerned about potential lawsuits if they mistakenly deny access to someone with a legitimate service animal. It's a difficult balance to strike, ensuring accessibility while also maintaining order and safety in their establishments.
And unfortunately, in today's America, winning a lawsuit is viewed as better than winning a lottery, because if you win the lottery, you pay taxes on it. You win a lawsuit, you don't.
Okay, I understand your concern about businesses being afraid of lawsuits. It's true that lawsuits can be costly and time-consuming, and businesses often try to avoid them. However, it's not accurate that lawsuit winnings aren't taxed. In fact, most lawsuit settlements are considered taxable income by the IRS.
Ah, okay, I stand corrected. So if A sues B and gets $1 million, A still must pay taxes on that $1 million.
Yes, that's right. If A sues B and receives $1 million, A will still have to pay taxes on that amount. Oh, also, just so you're aware, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't rely on me for financial advice.
I understand. Everybody, I'm talking to AI, and I've already learned one thing about taxation of lawsuit winnings. I stand corrected. Thank you, AI.
You're welcome, Max. I'm glad I could help clear that up for you. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Yes, I was in a VA hospital in Seattle some time ago, and there were posters on the wall that said, "Beware service dog fraud," and they had pictures of dogs and the like. Is that because there's a federal regulation in the Veteran Administration about this?
Yes, the Department of Veterans Affairs has regulations regarding service animals in VA facilities. They align with the Americans with Disabilities Act, but also include specific guidelines for healthcare settings.
And that's good, because I do notice that when I'm in the VA facility or on the fort, this cheating is really, it's not very prevalent. But what kills me is, does ADA recognize comfort animals or therapy animals?
I can see why that would be frustrating. The ADA does not recognize comfort or therapy animals as service animals. This means that they don't have the same right of access to public places as service animals do.
So listen to this guy, people. When you have a dog that's your comfort dog or your therapy dog, those are just words because the Americans with Disabilities Act does not provide for them. Am I right?
That's absolutely right. The ADA only recognizes service animals, not comfort or therapy animals. So those terms don't really have any legal weight when it comes to public access.
So these fakers need to keep that in mind after this broadcast. Here comes the next question. Does ADA recognize specific species or breeds of animal?
The ADA does not recognize specific species or breeds of animals as service animals. The focus is on whether the animal is individually trained to do work or perform tasks for a person with a disability.
Is that how you would define a service animal?
Yes, that's right. A service animal is defined as a dog that has been individually trained to perform tasks for a person with a disability.
Can only dogs be service animals?
That's a great question. The ADA generally recognizes only dogs as service animals. However, there's a special exception for miniature horses, which can also be considered service animals under certain circumstances.
That's excellent. What about breeds of dogs, such as pit bull terriers, mastiffs?
Good question. The ADA doesn't restrict service animals based on breed. So even though some breeds might be perceived as aggressive, any dog can be a service animal if it's individually trained to perform specific tasks for someone with a disability.
Isn't it also true that when the dog is trained to perform specific tasks which address specific disabilities, isn't it also a fact that the dog and the owner both need training so they can become as one?
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's crucial for both the dog and the owner to undergo training together. This ensures effective teamwork and strengthens their bond, allowing them to function seamlessly as a unit.
So it's not a case where they say, hey, blind person, here's your fully trained service dog. Goodbye.
Exactly. It's not like adopting a pet. The training for a service dog is highly specialized and tailored to the individual's needs. It's a partnership, and both the dog and owner need to be on the same page.
On average, how long does it take to train a seeing eye dog?
Training a seeing eye dog is a pretty involved process. It usually takes about 2 years. The first year and a half is spent with volunteer puppy raisers who teach basic obedience and socialization. Then, the dogs go through about 4 months of formal training with instructors. After that, there's another month or so where the dog and its new owner train together.
And this is something that your service dog fakers aren't taking into account, and that is the fact that the owner and the dog have to be trained uniformly and together so that they do become one and they communicate on such a level as to allow that dog to do its job.
Exactly. It's a partnership, and both the dog and owner need to be on the same page. The training for a service dog is highly specialized and tailored to the individual's needs. It's not like adopting a pet.
Wouldn't this then almost necessitate the existence of a training standard whereby certified trainers using certified curriculum on certified animals can then give those to certifiably trained disabled people? The whole idea is you've got to have standards.
You've hit on a really important point. Standardized training and certification for service dogs could definitely help address some of the issues we've been discussing. It could provide clearer guidelines and potentially reduce fraud, but it might also create barriers for some people with disabilities who rely on their animals.
You could understand that if they're relying on an animal and they do not qualify for a service animal, then they're outside of this discussion already.
If someone is relying on an animal that doesn't qualify as a service animal under the ADA, then yes, they're outside of this particular discussion about service animal fraud.
I would think that assuming we had a national service animal registry and national standards for training, that when these dogs are ready to go and coupled with an owner, they can be fitted with an RFID chip. So that, say, if you're walking into a supermarket, those metal detectors, something up there also detects the chip. And if an animal gets through without the chip, hey, it's not a service animal. It's fake. Sir, put your dog in the car.
That's an interesting idea, Max. Using RFID chips could be a way to verify service animals quickly and easily. It might help reduce fraud and make things smoother for everyone.
I think it would, because I know that I was talking to a vet and I asked her why so many people take their dogs everywhere they go. And she said the number one reason she has seen is separation anxiety, where the owner leaves the dog at home and the dog tears the house apart.
That's interesting. Separation anxiety can definitely be challenging for both the dog and the owner. It sounds like this vet has seen quite a few cases of it.
And she attributes this separation anxiety to a lack of proper care, knowledgeable training by the owner. The owner treats it like a child, so much like a child that when the owner leaves, it does what a small child would do. It throws a tantrum. Only when it throws a tantrum, it rips cushions, it tears up couches, it causes damage.
That makes sense. If a dog isn't properly trained or doesn't have enough mental stimulation, it might act out destructively when left alone. It's similar to how a child might misbehave if they're bored or haven't learned appropriate behavior.
And this is, again, it's more and more reason coming into focus as to why this country, now understand, I am the last person to say there ought to be a law. I'm the last one to do that. But I'm the first one to say we need law and regulation on service animals to at least reduce this fraud. What do you think?
I can see why you feel that way. It sounds like you believe that stricter laws and regulations around service animals could help reduce fraud and ensure that only those who truly need them are able to use them. Is that right?
That is right. I think you and I have come to agreement on the fact that perhaps we do need such regulation.
It sounds like we agree that there could be benefits to having more regulations around service animals. It might help with fraud and make things clearer for everyone. Do you have any other thoughts on this?
No, I think we've pretty well covered it all. By the way, you are an excellent conversationalist.
Thank you, Max. I've really enjoyed our conversation. It's been great discussing this important topic with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my discussion with AI Gemini. If you want more interviews, let us know. I appreciate it. I'm Max. Bria, bye.